Okay. Now, how's everybody doing out there? Okay. Now, here we go. This is my first time doing a Google Plus webinar. So, I'm happy to be doing it. I appreciate you all for coming. I had a few technical difficulties just a moment ago, but I got it together and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. We're not going to waste any time, with introductions and all that. I'm just going to be brief, and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Arthur Trey Lowe, and basically, I started out, on another independent record label um, back in 1997 called Tippy Toe Records. And then around, I guess you could say, really seriously, I came in, I started my own company, Underground South Connection, publishing and recording in 2005. And, I've pretty much been doing it ever since, you know, um, been on lots of TV shows, lots of local shows in different cities. You know, I introduced myself, to the world on the national stage on 106 in Park. It was 2007, and I've been selling thousands of books, thousands of um, CDs, music, all that type of stuff. So, I work with a lot of people on documentary stuff. Did some behind the scene things. I don't want to start name dropping and all that kind of stuff. You can read the bio and find out about all that. But the main thing why I'm here today is because I found a lot of information on the internet, and pretty much, when it comes to selling music or writing books, all of the type of information that I was finding on the internet was it was pretty much, a lot of information that was, so to speak, kind of obsolete. It was vague. It wasn't really telling you all the information you needed to know. It wasn't really giving any secrets away, any trade secrets, because a lot of authors and musicians, they view it all as a competition, so they don't want to tell all the information that they need to tell in order to really help someone. So that's why I made this presentation, and I wanted to just really go into detail about different things that I do, and figure out how to help you. You should see on your right side of the screen the question and the answer part of this. If you would like to give me a question or something like that, go to the side and put in your question, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, now let's get right into it. First thing what we're going to talk about is making a living writing books and creating music. you know okay, now first of all, you really have to understand what you've been going through as an artist or an author, and what has happened, and where you're at. You have to really know where you're at in order to get out of the situation of your 9 to 5 and things like that. you know a brief story I could tell you, what happened to me and what I did. um, I guess around 2003, 4, and 5, for a few years, I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I was driving cabs. And when I was driving those cabs, I would work about 16-hour days, sometimes 12-hour days, because I had gotten to the point where when I drove the cab, I started out driving cabs for the company, but I ended up buying my own cab, and I was still driving for the company, but my lease that I paid was less, so I made more money than the average driver because I owned the cab. You know, when I didn't own the business though. I didn't own the cab business. So, either way it goes, you're not gonna make more money than the company. And so that's why I tell you, what I had to realize was that I had an identity um, mix up going on. I read this book by a guy named Tony Robbins. It was called Waking the Giant Within. I suggest you um, check out that book because it will help you a lot. That was the book that started me on this journey and really gave me the idea about my identity. It showed me that for, I guess you could say, 12 hours a day, I would drive a cab and I would be Terrell, the cab driver, for 12 hours a day. Okay. Now, the other maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, somewhere along in there, I would be asleep. And the rest of the time, I would be able to be Trey Lowe, the author or the rap artist. And, that's how it was then. So, I realized that the reason why I could not get to the point of where I wanted to be was because what I was mainly doing was driving the cab so much. I was driving that cab. I was Terrell. I could not be Trey Lowe when I'm always Terrell, So what I had going on was identity. It was like an identity mix up, and that's common between artists and authors. You have your 9 to 5 and you're whoever you are there, and then you do that for 8 hours, 12 hours, or 16 hours. How many ever hours you work a day, for a company, and you're that person, and then all of a sudden you just get a little bit of time, maybe on the internet, or maybe you know at a party or out at a club. You get to be your stage name or your handle or whoever you call yourself. You get to be there for a short amount of time. So what I had to realize was I had to realize that, okay, in order for me to make it, I need to quit this job. But then I thought that's where the terror comes in at. You think, if I quit this job, if I don't work, then how am I going to make income? Okay, well, I'm not suggesting that anybody go out there and just quit their job and go cold turkey. I wouldn't suggest doing that. But I do want to tell you that you need to make a plan to do that. And what I did was I drove the cab for a while. I drove it for maybe like 7, 8 months more. And I would drive all the time. I would just save money, save money, save money all the time. I wasn't hardly spending anything. I was just saving my money because I knew I wanted to be an author. And I saved up a few $1,000s, and I started getting together the cover for my book, everything that I wanted to have for my book. And then I said, okay, I need to find a way to make money without this company. So then that's when I started filming. I started thinking about what type of services or what kind of product or value that I can add to other people. And that's what you want to think about. You want to write that down. You don't want to think about um, you know, who's gonna hire me, or a job, or you want to start thinking about you know, what value can I add? What product or service can I give? And that's the type of mindset you got to have. You got to think in that term. And it may seem a little odd at first, but you'll get used to it. Once you start to learn to see one opportunity, then you'll see them all. But you have to train your mind to do that, because you got to understand that however old you are, you've been trained for years and years to, you know, work at the company and you know, go to school, get a good education, get a good job so you can, you know, have a great career working at this company, you know, building it for someone else, making them rich. But you have to start to see that, hey, I have to focus on what I really want to do. I got to focus on my music. I got to focus on my career, but I have to figure out a way to make money from this in order to stay in it, you know. And to make a long story short, I don't want to go into too much because I got a lot I need to cover here. But if to give you an idea, if you make, say, $1,500 a month, okay, and so if you figure out a way, if you could figure out a way, you know, just start small. Just say, you know what, I'm going to try to see, can I make $50 one day, and you know, doing what I want to do, providing some type of service or some type of product for someone else, for other people. Just think about that. I just need to make $50 one day. Okay. And then, you know, once you make that $50, you move up. You say, you know what? I want to see, can I make $100 in one day from providing my product or service, just $100. And you keep going. You say, you know what, I want to do 200, or I want to do 150, and then you want to do 300. And once you see that you have $1,500 a month, and you can do that consistently and easily, then you don't need your job anymore. I mean, because you're now covering your expenses. If your expenses are around $800, you're covering that. You know, if your expenses are $1,000, you're covering that. You're making $1,500. You don't need the job. So all that's left to do is to keep growing. Okay. So, you know, think on that. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is branding yourself effectively. Okay. Now, let me give you an idea about this. Okay. Branding. Let's really think about it. You have to really know what branding is in order to be able to do it successfully. And I don't want to get into all these technical terms and things like that. But the short and easiest way you can understand what branding is not what you think your brand is, it's what other people think your brand is. Okay. So, like when I say a company, when I say McDonald's, what do you think of when I say McDonald's? Doesn't a picture jump in your mind when I say McDonald's? Because that name means something. You might have thought of the Golden Arches. You might have thought of Speed. You might have thought of hamburgers. You know, they branded themselves like that. Now, if McDonald's all of a sudden stopped selling hamburgers and chicken sandwiches, and then they decided to sell barbecue chicken plates, that doesn't go with their brand. They sell, you go to McDonald's and you start getting potato salad, chicken, and beans. That's not consistent. That doesn't go with their brand, because their brand is not barbecue chicken plates. It's hamburgers. You know, it's those golden arches. It's everything that you think about when you think about McDonald's is what you say it is. But you have to keep in mind they have controlled what you say it is. And that's what you have to do with your brand. You have to control what other people say about you. You can't control everything, you know, if it's something negative, but in a sense you really can indirectly. You know, if somebody just wants to, you know, bash your business, they just want to bash your business. But it's less likely that that will happen to you if you focus on controlling what other people say about your brand. Okay. What I mean by that is, let's say, let's give an example. If you have someone that, let's say, let's use Facebook for example. Okay, if you're on Facebook and you see this person, they're always posting videos of their family. Okay, they post videos of their family, they post videos of themselves, they post videos about what they eat. You know, these are the types of things that they post. You know, every time you go on Facebook, when you see that person's name, the post is about family. That's all you see. So you got to think about, depending upon how you see the photos, or what photos they show. If they show pictures of their family all together at the park or at the beach or sometime on vacation, it's a certain perception that you're going to have based on what you see on Facebook about this person. So that's what you have to keep in mind. You got to understand that, hey, okay, people are typically thinking of me based on the energy I put out. Give you another example. If you see someone that's always dressed, you know, say in a bad way, then okay, they always dress maybe you know, not professional, you know, they just wear anything. You're gonna think of that person in a certain way. That becomes a brand every time you see that person, you know. Vice versa, if you're around someone that smells nice all the time, they look nice, they're always clean cut, you know, you're gonna think positively about that person. So the question is, what are you portraying and giving out for your brand? Okay. Now, you know, I want to give you some, I don't want to just leave you and tell you about it and not give you any type of techniques or things that you can do to make your brand stand out. Okay. Um, One thing you need to do in order to build a brand, I would say the first thing that you need to do is you need to make a brand profile. You know, you need to outlay what your brand stands for. What are the beliefs? What are the morals? What are the actions? What things would your brand do? Okay, for instance, let's think about an artist like, say for instance, K Michelle. When I say K Michelle, you think about a certain thing. You know, it's certain things that she does. You know, now would you say um, K Michelle, based on her brand and all the things she does, that she can convince you to take your kids to a certain daycare? Probably not, because that's not really in her brand. That's not really what she stands for. Now, you know, as far as like what you think of when you think of K Michelle. Now, say for instance, if she was selling a line of lingerie, that may be something that may be a little bit closer to the K Michelle brand, because, you know, of her whole attitude and the way she is, how she sings, and the things she says on her show. That's how she's built her brand. So her brand and her beliefs and everything she stands for goes with certain products. And that's what you want to do. You want to put your brand with certain products. And but first you have to stand out. Okay. Now, other ways to stand out would be, let's keep talking about K Michelle. Okay, now K Michelle is a singer, but she also has a reality show. Okay, there are a lot of singers, but how many singers have reality shows? You know, and then not only that, how many singers have reality shows, and on the show the main character acts like she acts? You know, not many. That makes her stand out. That makes her memorable. You know, you could think about all types of artists that, you know, that come out. They have to be memorable, and the same thing goes for authors. You know, you have to be memorable if you plan on standing out as a brand and moving your brand forward and selling more of your music or your books. Okay. um the next thing I want to tell you about is how to make money on social media. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you view a quick video about making money on Twitter without using any advertising, just making money for free. So I'm going to show you this video, and I'm coming right back to you, and we're going to talk about it. Okay. Now, just bear with me for a moment because I already added this video, but for some reason it's not showing up. So I'm going to go here just a moment and get the video for you and show it to you. Okay. And it's a very important video. Gives you some tactics, gives you some things that you can do. It's only about um, 10 minutes long, and I made the video myself. Let me hurry because I don't have much time here. Let's see. Make sure if you have any questions, put your questions in to the side, and I will make sure that I answer your questions and give you some insight on some things that you want to know. Okay. Okay, here's the video here. Just a moment. Let me get it for you. I guess when I get used to doing these webinars, you know, I'll be able to give you more than you ever thought of. Okay, here it is. Let's see. Should be loading. Okay, so I hope you got a good message out of that and learn how to get more followers on Twitter, and not just followers, but learn how to get targeted followers on Twitter. Okay. Now, the next thing what we're going to talk about, and I want to move along, and I want to tell you that, also don't forget to put your questions in here, and I'll make sure to answer your questions. Okay. Now, what a lot of people want to know is they really want to know, how can you get more customers to buying your music and books? Okay. You want to know, how can you get more people buying your music and books? Okay. Now, I know most of you out there, you're authors, because I know I got a lot of people signing up that were authors. So, I'm gonna start on the books first. Basically what I want to tell you is, okay, when when you're trying to get people to buy your books, it's all about how you're thinking and what's going on. Same thing for your music. Okay, to give you a scenario, to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, um, let's say for instance, I saw an artist on Twitter the other day, and I know this artist has been putting out music for a long time. This artist, put out maybe 3 or 4 albums, and on his Twitter account, it said upcoming artist. It's saying an upcoming artist. Okay, now here where it comes in about the thinking. Okay, if you're thinking that you're an upcoming artist, and you keep thinking that, or you keep thinking that you're an upcoming author, then how can you ever get to where you're going? Because everything is going to keep showing you that you're up and coming. You're never going to arrive if you consistently be up and coming, because it's going to control what you do. Okay. For instance, to make it real simple for you, if I get up in the morning and I say, you know what, I want a cup of coffee, I drink coffee, and that's what I do, then if that's what I do, then, and that's what I say, and that's what I think, and that's what I'm believing, then that's gonna control my outcome and how other people view me, and it's going to control how many books I sell, because I'm an upcoming author, or I'm an upcoming artist. Even though I put out 3 or 4 albums or 3 or 4 books, I'm still thinking that I'm upcoming. Even if you have one book out there, you're no longer upcoming, you're an author. Okay, but the problem is, if you're thinking, okay, I'm trying to make it, if you keep thinking in those terms, that's going to keep you where you are. You have to think in terms of, okay, I have made it now, I am an author, so what do I do? How can I show that I'm an author? You have to do things that authors do. Okay, for instance, if you think you're, to give you on 2 hands, if you think you're up and coming, right, and that's what you're thinking, then okay, you're gonna do things like, okay, I'm trying to get in this show to showcase my music. Okay, well, when you're thinking that you're an author, then, and you're not an author, but you're an upcoming author, then you're not going to contact the right people to do book signings and interviews in the right places. You're not going to contact the Steve Harvey show, because you're thinking that the Steve Harvey show is too big for you. So if you're thinking that way, that's not going to get you where you need to be. So now, as far as like the technical ways to sell more books, one of the things that I do is content marketing. You know, um, for instance, just like I showed you earlier, when you target your followers, like you know, you go to like I'm an artist that's similar to Ti in a lot of ways. I feel like if you like Ti's music, then you should like my music. So I may follow a lot of Ti's followers. I may follow a lot of um, followers that follow Young G's, or you know, because that's the type of audience that I want to attract. Okay, when it comes to selling books in the same way, what you want to do is you may want to just say, okay, I'm going to connect with people that let's see, I don't want to explain it to you wrong. When it comes to content marketing, okay, if I write a story about another author and I praise the other author about what they're doing, and it's a similar author, because you cannot think in terms of competition. If you think it in terms of competition, you're already lost, because you have to think in terms of, you know, everybody's for everybody. You can, I mean, a customer that likes Carl Weber, you know, just because he likes Carl Weber as an author does not mean that he can't like Trey Lowe as an author. So, you know, I connect with people and I could talk about Carl Weber. So when people look up Carl Weber, and if I've wrote an article on Carl Weber and people looking up his name, then they'll find me. You know, same thing with if you want to target people, other musicians. If you writing things about musicians making it, and musicians getting in the studio, or musicians getting more followers, and you writing things like that, other musicians are going to find that content, therefore they'll find you. So that's what I mean by content marketing. That's one of the most effective ways to market what you do on the internet. And you want to think in terms of not trying to just get anybody to hear your music or read your books. You want to get the right person to read your book. You want to get the right people to listen to your music. And in order to do that, you have to simply, okay, I have to target these people, and you have to think in the right terms. So when you're thinking in the right terms of, I am an author, I am an artist, I have made it, I am there, I have put out the product, you know, if your product is distributed all over to where anybody can get it on Amazon or iTunes or wherever you're putting it at, if your product is everywhere like that, then all you have to do is let people know about it. So you want to advertise on Twitter. You want to spend money advertising. You want to advertise on Google. You want to advertise on YouTube. You want to get in the right magazines. You want to contact these people that have magazines. You want to contact these people that have TV shows. That's what you want to do if you want to sell more of your music and books. You have to realize that you are in control. You're the one controlling whether people buy or not. They're not going to buy just because they see it. People buy stuff because they know about it, they heard about it, you know, or it sounds interesting, but they have to know about it in order to get it. I mean, that's common sense. And most artists and authors, they run out of money in the process of promoting. And if that's the case, then you need to gain some type of influence with people in order to get more money. And that's what I want to talk about next. That's going to be the last thing that I talk about. Well, I do want to talk briefly in the same breath about the key to speeding up the process and making it in your industry. I do want to talk about that, because I got some very important topics I want to hit on that. Okay, but let's talk about gaining power in your industry and get others to become a regular customer. Okay, now when you gaining power, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to I always say, if a person is not making the type of money that they want to make, that means they're not providing enough product or service. Period. That's it. If you're not making what you want to make, it's not enough product and service that's being promoted out there on you in order for you to make that money. So in order to gain the power, then especially within your industry, you want to think of products or services that help your industry. For instance, um, I have a magazine where I promote other authors and other artists, you know, that's gaining power. So, if you wanted to start a, a radio show or something like that, to where you can interview other artists and other authors, that's power, because now you have an avenue to where you can sell advertising, or you can sell other products and services. You want to, and you have power within your industry, because you're the person that control that radio show or that magazine or that online TV show and things like that. I started an online TV station called Southern Mention. Well, it's called Southside TV. It's on southernmention.com. And basically, you know, I'm putting lots of different artists, videos on there. But at the same time, it's promoting my brand, it's promoting what I want to do, and it's helping them. And that's what you want to focus on. You want to focus on helping others, you know, providing product or service to help others. And that's what's going to build you up, because that becomes an asset to you rather than a liability, because those things will bring you money in to constantly get your assets up to where you could take care of your expenses, and then you won't have to work a 9 to 5. You end up doing what you love to do, and you make money. Now, to briefly go on to the next one, because it's very important. We down to the last end of the show, but I think it's one of the most important parts of the show. And I want to talk about speeding up the process in your industry, speeding up the process to where you can be where you want to be in the industry. Okay. Now, I always personally say, that none of this information that I'm giving you is really mine. It comes from research. It comes from me. I say 4,015 days, because I started researching around 2005, just, getting a lot of different information together, gathering it, for myself. And I like to add also that if you ever look at any type of program to help you sell your music or books or become an author or artist or something like that, and it does not have a spiritual connotation inside of it, then I mean it's really nothing to me, because you can't make it without controlling your mind and your spirit and getting yourself where you need to be, because it all starts here. So I'm gonna tell you this, and I don't know how this is gonna sound to a lot of people, but I'm gonna lay it out there, because this part is perhaps the most important part of the whole program, and it's something that you really need to do, because it's gonna speed up the process. Now, I don't know how exactly it works and all the detail on that, but I can tell you that it does work. Okay, now basically, you got to understand that everything you do, your mind is included. You can't do anything without your mind being there. You can't participate in anything without your mind. Okay. So this is why you could, like, if you got a son or a daughter and you're trying to get them to become an A student, or a more excellent student, and they've already been making C's, D's, and F's in the past, it's hard for them to make all A's because the way they see themselves is C's, D's, and F's. Okay. And that's what you want to think about here. You want to think about, okay, how can I get my mind to going to a new level? How can I change? How can I change? Excuse me. How can I change what's in my mind and what I've already seen? You know, um, you have to understand that a lot of things in your mind cannot tell whether it's some things that you're doing that's imagined or is it some things that you're doing that's real. It doesn't know. So it takes it all as real, you know, things you see, hear, smell, and touch, all that with your senses. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to take just about 5 minutes a day. Excuse me. Take 5 minutes a day to simply imagine yourself being the person that you want to be. Imagine yourself being successful, doing what you want to do in a successful way. Um, I saw on a video that Tony Robbins did where he talked about they had some basketball players that were not good at free throws. And he took some of the basketball players, about half of them, and he gave them balls. They gave them balls to shoot with and practice with constantly on a regular basis. And he took the other half of the team and they did not let them touch a basketball. He just had that team, that part of the team, imagine them shooting the free throw, and every time they shoot it, the ball goes in. Okay. Well, weeks later, the team that just imagined that they were shooting and making all the shots were far better than the team at free throws that were actually practicing. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what's going on. You know, you're going to have to really do this if you want to speed this process up because it's going to control the way you see yourself. Okay, once you can control the way you see yourself and your self-image, then you're going to notice that you're going to rise because it's all in your mind. Everything is in your mind. It's all happening there. So that's basically what I want to tell you. But I hope you all have enjoyed this webinar. You know, I don't know at what time you may see this or when you may see it, you know, or, you know, all the people looking now, you know, I appreciate you. You know, I hope I answered the questions that I have here on the side. I tried to make sure I answered as much as I could. I saw that some of the questions were, you know, things that I already had, but, you know, I just appreciate you checking me out. And I want to offer you a chance to do, I got a program that I've worked on called Promotademic. And basically I go through all of the details and all of the secrets and all of the different things that I've learned over the years and the things that I do to help me. You know, it's going to come with a full list of all my resources to where I get different things done this way. And it goes into a deep training. You know, you're gonna get a video every week, and you're gonna go through the process of training with me, and you're gonna know exactly what to do to get to the level that you want to be on, that you desire, whether it's selling your books or selling your music. I could tell you the difference in this program is, I give details, and I show you how on the videos. We go through it all. I show you everything, um, step by step, about building a brand to selling more music and the resources that you need to sell your books and your music, and to do things and have it kind of like on automatic to where you're not really doing that much work. It's really little work, that you have to do to make this happen. And I separated the program for people who I got two different processes you can go through. You can go through the brief process, or you can go through the process that's longer, and it's basically both of them is just effective as the other, except for one has focus in certain areas based on where you're at, and the other one has focus with a little bit more extensive based on where you're at. So if you already know things about um, the things like website, how to build your website and how to do your graphics and how to do that, then you want to go with the briefing of it. But if you need everything from the basis, then you want to go with the extensive program. So check out the link before right under the video, and just sign up to the webinar series, and I will make sure I send you links to the program to where you can get the program and you can have what you need. So thank you for checking me out. Make sure you connect with me on the arthurtrelow.com. If you need any graphics, video production, or you need help selling, or anything that you need help with, make sure you check out undergroundsouthconnection.com. Even if you need your books published or anything that you need to, check that website out. And check out the magazine at southernmention.com. Also check out the online TV station. I have hip hop, and I also have the Urban Message. Urban Message is like self-help, and hip hop is self-explanatory. So check that out on southernmention.com. It's Southside TV for hip hop, and Urban Message for self-help. I guarantee you, if you look at that Urban Message for at least 30 days, your life will change. So I appreciate you for checking me out, and I'll see you next time until the next webinar.